にちは。こんにちは。こんにちは。
Greetings. Welcome, welcome. I need to hit this button. Oh, I forgot to do my test. Test complete. I have to test and make sure that that's connected every time now. Because it was not connecting for a little bit. Evening, Lansley, Lojo, and Glenn. Oh, I have a bot. Delete that. I can't. Cactus. Ow. Oh. Oh no. Ooh. I died. Help. Cactus. Okay, I'm back. I need to. Yes, powerful cactus. Maybe I need to make the cactus do less damage. I don't know. I need to have that little emote with like Kermit the Frog's hand, like raising up from the bottom of the frame and shaking. Okay. The mod thing. Hydrate. I have juice. I will hydrate with juice. Hydration complete. I discovered on Vin's channel on Monday that Twitch had completely redesigned the mod system, and that people it's the cactus isn't insta-kill, but each cactus does, I think, like 15 damage. And there's just so many cactuses that if the majority of them hit, it murders me. What kind of juice? I have V8 strawberry. Oh, cactus. I'm flying away. Help. They're levitating cactus. This has never happened before. Oh no. This is new. Okay. Ow. Ow. Those are magic cactus. Ow. He's just throwing great balls at me now. I'm at half health. If anybody would like to throw a mushroom, now would be the time. Oh, yay. See? Haha. Helium cacti. Yes. But yeah, I noticed that. Ow. The pain. Poof. I mistimed that. Poof. Ha 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 ha. I have repoofed. But yeah, I noticed that mods now can only, if you mod someone in your chat, the only thing that they can do is ban and time out people, and that's it. And I want my mods to be able to like change the game or the title or stuff like that too. But apparently that's an editor. So and now in order for someone to be able to change the name and the game and like make clips and stuff and arrange VODs and stuff on your channel, they have to be an editor on top of being a mod. And now there's two levels of mods. There's mods and there's super mods. And super mods have a little hammer icon next to their name. Mods have a sword. Editors don't get anything. So you can make someone an editor without them being a mod. You can make them a mod without being an editor. Because it's Twitch and they're stupid. So yeah, now the majority of the people on my channel that are mods on my channel are fellow streamers. So other streamers that I work with all the time, I just make them mods on my channel. Because we collab all the time anyway, and we're always sharing things. And if something pops up, now Lojo, you are great at doing stuff. I monitor my chat, like pretty much all the time, and I'm because I monitor all 3 chats. Because I have a Kick chat and I have a YouTube chat over here on another monitor that you guys can't see because you're in Twitch. But yeah, I keep a pretty tight handle on it anyway. Moderators really only need to step in when I get all famous and stuff, and I get like hundreds of people in the chat that'll be like, mods, invert their balls. And then you guys like descend. Yes. Also, Lansley, if you would like to be a mod on my channel, you can. I trust the Lansley. Mods delimb this man. Your mom now owns a gaming laptop? That is awesome. The more people... You know what? You know what game she can play? Final Fantasy 14! You can give her a pitch. You made the mistake of showing her cookie clicker. Well, Lansley, you are VIP right now. That's what the pink diamond next to your name means. So you beat There Is No Game last night? That's awesome. But yeah, Lansley, you're currently VIP on my channel because you're awesome. And that means that your messages are always going to be highlighted in the chat, and you get the nice little pink diamond next to your name. But if you would like the green sword instead and become a moderator and yield moderating ball inverting powers, then yeah, just say so and I'll make you a mod. Bam, just like that. I stole the invert their mods thing from Iron Mouse because it's hilarious. So today, also, there was no stream yesterday. Yes, see that right there? Bam! I moved it from there to here and canceled today's stream. Because I want to beat Super Mario RPG this week. And I'm pretty sure I'll be able to beat it today. But the reason that there was no stream yesterday and little stream today was because I hurt my back again. If there are any constants in life, it is immediate back pain that lasts for 12 or more hours. Yes. In fact, I've got pills I can take. I've got Aleve. And my back is still hurting. So I should stop base jumping. Yes. if The Dark Knight Rises has taught me anything, it's that if you do stuff like that all the time, your body breaks and you need a cane. And I have a cane. It's right over here at the wall. My cat likes to smash his face into everything and knock it over. And then it falls on him and he gets all upset. And I'm like, dude, you did that. Don't act like I'm beating you with a cane. You smashed your face into it and dropped it on your head. That is your fault. But he's a cat and therefore stupid. He's an orange cat. He's got one brain cell. And it was occupied with smashing face into object. Yes. How has everybody been for Tuesday and Wednesday? How's your day been? I haven't seen everybody since Monday evening. I don't know why that came out like Forrest Gump. Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. I saw a video of somebody reacting to seeing Forrest Gump for the first time. And it made me remember just how batshit insane that movie is. Can't complain, but you could, but it wouldn't help. Yep. Yep, I feel you. Some are coconut. I actually don't mind coconut chocolate. Mounds bars are one of my favorite chocolate bars.
Emotional damage.
Yes. But yeah, Mounds bars, or what are they called in the UK? Bounty bars are one of my favorite. You're a popular kid doing Halloween. You like coconut, peanut butter, and such. I like coconut. I think I like coconut a little bit when it comes to candy. I think I like coconut a little bit better than peanut butter. No Smarties ever at all for the chalk tablets. Well, the chewable Smarties are actually a lot better than the regular Smarties. That's, yeah. Homemade is all, yes. Homemade anything is typically more awesome than store-made things, especially considering the quality of chocolate in the United States is not the best, and we don't really get access to things like Cadbury's chocolate bars here. The only like Cadbury stuff that we get is like the cream eggs, which isn't exactly the best of the Cadbury's chocolate library. Little black or orange wrap peanut butter chews, like balls. They're little balls of like a peanut buttery mixture that's dipped in chocolate. Yes, Hershey's chocolate is not great. Like, it's passable chocolate, but Cadbury is much better. But Hershey's is the reason we don't have Cadbury over here. The eggs are Hershey's now? Are they still called the Cadbury cream eggs? Because they had the name of their competitor on the egg. Yes, I can imagine. If they replace the Cadbury's chocolate with Hershey's chocolate, I can imagine how horrible they are now. I haven't had them in years due to the whole diabetic thing. Like eating a a chocolate ball that is filled with sugar, it's probably not the best thing for a diabetic to do. They're an official distributor, but they let them use a different chocolate recipe. That's crazy. That's crazy. The Kit Kat heist. There was a Kit Kat heist? I am like, my news cycle is like completely filled with this war in Iran and Trump being actually insane. The outside of that, the only piece of news that I've gotten over like the past day and a half was that Ray Stevens apparently had an accident and broke his neck. And I'm like, okay, dude's like 85. What was he doing to break his neck? It said in the report, but I forget. But Ray Stevens broke his neck. Your dad made sugar-free sweet potato walnut bread because the guy at church kept buying the regular and just taking extra shots. Trump was somehow Hitler and Chamberlain at the same time. I can't even keep up with how insane this man is. They stole enough to cause an... Wow, they stole half a ton of Kit Kats and caused a shortage. That is crazy. Trump negotiated with himself and lost. I mean, yeah. I did not hear of the Kit Kat heist. That is actually kind of funny, yeah. Like we need more news of that nature, I think. Yeah, it is very, very, very nuts. And like I've talked about the Trump situation before. What I think Trump is trying, like, I have a conspiracy theory that I hope is just a conspiracy theory. But what I think Trump is trying to do is to get the Middle East to initiate a nuclear strike on American soil. Because if he does that, he can invoke articles of war that will allow him to postpone the special elections and stay in power past the end of his term. Maple heists are stealing tankers of maple syrup. Wow. It was 12 tons. Oh, that's a lot more. That is a lot of chocolate. Like, I have questions. First, how do you steal 12 tons of chocolate? Second, where do you put 12 tons of chocolate that they can't immediately find you for having 12 tons of chocolate? Ray Stevens is 87. Let's see if it says how he... Recovering from broken neck. He fell. Oh, he did fall. What? Did he just fall in his room? It said... Everything just says serious fall. Advised by doctors to wear a neck brace for 4 weeks. Yes! Dude broke his neck. I like that they call him a country music star. I would not really classify Ray Stevens' music as country music. with songs like the Mississippi Squirrel Revival and I'm My Own Grandpa, I would not really. The Streak, yeah, I mean, he might fit country music, but I don't know if I would call him a country music star. Yes, old people falling is bad. People falling is bad. Did I need to push? I need a quick release button. Chiropractor you knew saved the lady's life like that. Wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't touch with it. An x-ray showed she had a broken neck. Without. Oh, yes. A lot of chiropractors require x-rays in order to find out if there are any pre-existing conditions before you just start touching things, because you can make things immediately worse. But then, chiropractors are not actually doctors. Like that, I think that is one thing that everybody who sees a chiropractor should know immediately. Your chiropractor is not a doctor. They did not go to medical school. They took a 6-week course online and are going around cracking people's backs and stuff. If your chiropractor does not require an x-ray before they start making adjustments, find a new chiropractor, because they're the ones that failed the 6-week course. Yeah. One comedian summarized the Kit Kat situation. The thieves are still at large and are presumed to be becoming larger. Yeah. Yes. And that's the thing about going to chiropractor. You go to a chiropractor, yeah, you are going to feel better afterwards. You're going to feel better for probably about a week. And then whatever condition was causing the problem have to get adjusted again, because they're not fixing the problem, they're treating a symptom. How many calories in a Kit Kat? I am not sure. Let's see. Google, how many calories in a Kit Kat? 218 calories in one Kit Kat bar. Kit Kat wafer bar, one bar. 1.5 ounces, 42 grams, 218 calories. So if it was 42 grams, okay. Okay. What was it, like 42? We'll say 260,000. Okay. I think my math is off. It would be more than 86. How many calories? 6,000 calories. 40. Yes, it would be over 40,000 Kit Kats. Because there's 42 grams per Kit Kat, and they stole 12 tons. So that would be 1.089 to the 7th grams of Kit Kat. And that's probably metric ton, right? So that's like 12 million grams. $413,000 Kit Kats. Yep, that sounds about right. It's probably 500,000 that they stole. Because it wouldn't be that specific of a number in a shipment. They would ship it by big round numbers because they like big round numbers when shipping things. Yes. And I mean, you could probably calculate, knowing that a shipment on a truck can't exceed 80,000 pounds. You could calculate how much they would put on there. If you knew how many Kit Kats were in a case and how many cases were on a pallet, you could calculate the exact amount. The heist took place in Italy, headed for Poland. Did it actually happen in Italy, or did it happen somewhere between Italy and Poland? Because that's Europe. On the road in Turin. Oh. Yeah. Get some rockin' music from Final Fantasy XIV. Yeah. I need to fix the timer for the top bar. I think I wanted to stay on that one with showing the 3 people. Okay, now that makes a difference. They stole special edition Kit Kats. That makes more sense than just stealing regular Kit Kats. Because I'm like, you stole a whole lot of a mid chocolate bar. Like if you're gonna steal regular Kit Kats, you need to do that in Japan, where they have 5 bajillion flavors of Kit Kats, and they give them away. Like in Japan, the go-to high school graduation present, for some reason, is Kit Kats. Japan does some very weird things. Like give Kit Kats as a high school graduation present. They have special versions that are specifically designed to be Kit Kat gifts. I mean, they also eat Kentucky Fried Chicken for Christmas. I actually know the origin of why this is a thing. Back in the, I think, 70s or 80s, around about that time in the 70s or 80s, the guy who was in charge of KFC in Japan, decided to launch a campaign of chicken meals for Christmas. And he put it all on the TV. He advertised all over Tokyo. And he got this campaign going to get people to come out and get KFC Christmas buckets, because that's what they do in America. And Japan has always wanted to be like, oh, we want to do what the West does. So if Americans eat chicken for Christmas, we're gonna eat chicken for Christmas. The thing is, Americans eat turkey for Christmas, and this particular CEO of KFC got the details wrong. And he didn't realize that he got the details wrong till about 5 years later. And it was too late to like change anything at that point. So now it's been just like ingrained in Japanese culture for like 2 generations that KFC chicken is a Christmas thing. So yeah, the KFC the KFC Christmas bucket. How much is the KFC Christmas bucket? This is the basic bucket. Do we have the deluxe bucket? The basic bucket is like 4,090 yen. Here's a different one. It's gone up 1,000 yen. This is the basic. Party barrel is around 5,000 yen. Yeah. So it looks like it's about this looks like 5,500 yen basically for the KFC Christmas barrel. I think that says barrel. KFC Christmas bucket tower thingamathing. 550,000 yen is like $40, right? So that's about what a KFC bucket costs here in the United States now. If you know of the YouTube channel Abroad in Japan, he's covered the KFC Christmas bucket twice on that channel. One year, your mom was in the hospital over your birthday, so your sister showed up with KFC and donuts. Now every birthday is KFC and donuts. Yep, sounds like a good birthday. My mom asked me to get KFC all the time. She's like, do we have any money? Can we get KFC? And I'm like, no, we don't. We don't have KFC money, Mom. We don't. My mom loves KFC. She loves KFC exactly one time. Cause she'll be like, I want KFC, and then I'll go get KFC, and she'll come back and she'll eat KFC this one time, and then she will not touch it again for like 2 months, and then randomly she'll be like, oh, can we have like KFC? So yeah, like one serving of KFC is enough for Nari Mom for 2 months. Yep. Is this the full version of this song? This is a more poppy version of this song. I mentioned, I think on Monday, that Honeybee Lovely had a really awesome song in Final Fantasy 14. And this is Honeybee Lovely's song, but this is a pop version. When you're actually fighting Honeybee Lovely in the raid tier, it's like heavy metal version of this song. You end up going to bed feeling overeaten. Yeah, that can happen easy with KFC. Your grandfather with Mars bars only had them and concentrated OJ for months during the Battle of the Bulge. You would buy one a year. Yep. This song is much better as the rock version than this poppy version. Be My Honey. Okay, that makes sense for the title of this song. This part is the same in both versions. Honey Be Lovely is a raid boss tier in the newest expansion of Final Fantasy XIV, Dawn Trail. The raid tier in Dawn Trail is something called the Arcadian, and it's kind of like a gladiatorial arena, and one of the people that you face off against is Honey Be Lovely. The gladiators that you're facing off against, they're using the souls of monsters and combining it with themselves to get special powers. And Honey Be Lovely has the soul of this like massive queen bee thing that she merges with. And you as the player are the outlier because you do not enhance yourself with souls. You're just walking in there with whatever weapon you have equipped, and then everybody's like, "Oh, they're gonna crush you like immediately because you're not augmented. You don't have souls." And your player character just walks in there and bulldozes all of their gladiators, and they're like, "Huh, right. Well, this next one uses an even bigger soul, so you're like, huh, right. Well, we'll put you in the next two where they have even bigger oh. Okay, well the next guy, there's two of them, and there's no way you can, oh. Okay, well the next guy uses 3 souls, and what do you mean he's knocked out before he got to the arena? That's the raid tier. You'd only eat chocolate oranges at Christmas because that's how long it takes for you to forget how sugary they are. I have not had a chocolate orange in like a decade. There's a particular company that became really famous. Like, I had never heard of a chocolate orange before the 90s. I don't know if that's when they invented or if that was when they came to the US. But there was always Terry's. It was Terry's chocolate orange that was advertised all over the place. And then for like the next 5 years, like up to like 2005, the only chocolate oranges raspberry chocolate oranges. Yes, I've seen the raspberries. Yes, it was Terry's chocolate orange, and to this, like up until 2005, I didn't even see anybody else try to copy the chocolate orange. Now there are some knockoffs, but if you want a chocolate orange or the raspberry orange, because I guess making them as actual raspberries is too small, Terry's is the company. That's what your grandparents would send you each year? Yep. And then this song is from Final Fantasy IX, which is my favorite Final Fantasy game. So we came from a pretty good song, Honey Be Lovely's theme, to anything from Final Fantasy IX, because the entire soundtrack of FF9 is just goated. It's amazing. Yes, it is an orange-shaped piece of raspberry-flavored chocolate, and they have the thing where it's wrapped in it's in a box, but it's wrapped in foil, and you take it and you have to smack it on the table, and it like breaks all the chocolate pieces apart. So when you peel off the foil, it just falls into like little chocolate wedges. That was front and center of every single commercial, was smack it on the table. I'm recalling one commercial where they had a montage of people wham, 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 just smacking the chocolate balls on the table, and I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, You are hyping this thing up more than Crossfire, and that's saying something. If you were alive, Terry's had to redo their advertising because their tap and unwrap caused damage to people's property. Because they were not tapping and unwrapping. In the commercial, they were slamming this thing onto their desks. Yeah, I can see how it was causing damage to people's property. Oh, you have a glass table? Wham! The table breaks, the chocolate ball is still intact. Well, see, that was the thing. You get caught up in the crossfire. And that was the most interesting thing about this game. Okay, Crossfire. We gotta Google this. Crossfire game. This is it. This thing right here, Crossfire. So, what this thing was, right? You had this table, and you had these two fidget spinners, like right in the middle of the table, and the goal was you shoot these like half-inch metal ball bearings out of these guns at each other's little fidget spinners and try to knock them into the little tray on the other side. Yes, little steel ball bearings that you would be firing at each other on this thing. And the commercial for this game was absolutely crazy because they come in riding the little fidget spinner things like what are those things that people ride? The little hoverboards. They come in riding them like they're hoverboards, and then they take turns shooting at each other, and then one of the kids like explodes into lightning, and the other one like spins off into space. And the whole time you have that crossfire. I gotta find this commercial. What? You know what website would be good to go look up videos on? How about YouTube? Crossfire. Am I? Oh, here we go. Look, the Crossfire commercial.
It's sometime in the future. The ultimate challenge. Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught.
See?
Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught. Crossfire. 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 You'll get caught up in it.
Oh yeah, he goes flying off into space. Like, that commercial was the most he had. But the thing is, it does depict the actual gameplay. You were there with the little turny gun just shooting it. That commercial is the most exciting thing about that game. That is one of the games where you sit down and you play it. It's you. First off, you didn't own that game. That's the game that you wanted, but your parents would never buy it for you. So you had to go to a friend's house who was rich, and their parents just let them buy anything that they wanted. And then you would sit down and you would play the game for 5 minutes, and then you're like, okay, let's go do something fun. That's what Crossfire was. It was the game that you didn't own, your rich friend owned it. You would go and you would beg them to play it, and you would play it for 5 minutes, and then you would move on to things that were actually fun. You had it in Hungry Hungry Hippos. Can you confirm that Crossfire is a 5-minute game, and then you're... Hungry Hungry Hippos is actually a more entertaining game than Crossfire. But Hungry Hungry Hippos is also like a 5-minute game. You're going to say maybe. I've always... Yeah, you don't remember playing it at the time. Right, everybody remembers the commercial because the commercial was awesome. It's got lightning and the kid flies in on the little fidget spinner things and it's crossfire, right? Everybody remembers the commercial. Nobody really remembers the game. Yep. I always ended up like when we played. There was a game in the '90s called Key to the Kingdom, and I still have this game. Can I get images? Key to the Kingdom. This game. Key to the Kingdom. It had this board that folded out like this, right? So it was folded up like that, and then when you got to the whirlpool in the middle, the game board folded out, and there's a whole new thing on the inside. And the goal was you had to like save the kingdom by going to these different palaces, and you would fight a boss like D&D, and it had like D&D dice in it. And you will earn treasure. Like these are the treasure cards here. These are equipment cards. These are like monster cards and stuff for the different bosses that you would fight. And there was an NPC, this guy right here, which was the Dark Lord. This is a different version of that game. But yeah, I played this game all the time. Yes, I remember Mousetrap. I have both this game, Key to the Kingdom, and Mousetrap in my closet right now, with a bunch of other board games. They made a new. Here's like the full breakdown of everything in Key to the Kingdom. They made a new version, which I have seen version. The old version is very 90s with everything. It looks like they've tightened up the new version a bit. But yeah, I have seen this new version. I do not have the new version. I have the original 90s version. My parents and my grandparents used to go to the flea market all the time, and we would see this game at the flea market for like $15 all the time. You see, and the die right there was an 8-sided die, and we didn't see those very often back in the day, unless you were like already in D&D. And in the 90s, especially here in like the Bible Belt, D&D was and Pokemon were very frowned upon because of the church had the whole satanic panic thing going on. Greetings, Zajek. Yes, we were talking about old games. First, we were talking about Crossfire, and then I mentioned that I preferred other games like this game, which was a lot more entertaining than Crossfire. And then Glenn mentioned Mousetrap, and I do have Mousetrap. And for those of you who never seen Mousetrap, this is what Mousetrap is. You have a bigger picture, yeah. So you go around the board, and as you go around the board, you build this Rube Goldberg machine, so that when you actually get back around to right here, there's a little space that the mice have to stay on. And you need to have, I think, the appropriate amount of cheese slices. Here's the old 90s board right here. So you would move around the board and construct the machine. And then when you get here, you just move around and around this circle until you get until you roll correctly on the dice, and you win. But there are different spaces on the board where people that are here, someone could turn this crank, and it kicks a marble down this chute, which goes into this like chute here, which takes it around to over here, and it wiggles this thing, and then a big ball that's sitting on there rolls down and then falls into this tub, and then there's a hole in the tub right here, and it falls out of the tub and it hits this little seesaw, and this guy jumps and lands in the bucket, and the bucket shakes this thing, and this basket comes down and it catches the mice, and if you get caught you have to start over. So yeah. Mousetrap. I own this version of Mousetrap right here. The newer version. This is like the modern version. Not the original. When I was growing up, this is what Mousetrap looked like. I have never had a game of Mousetrap actually complete. Especially as kids, right? When we were trying to build this on a board, like what? Turn the crank and you have the little stop sign that kicks the boot that starts the marble rolling that has the ball falling through the thing, and then that guy jumps into the tub. Like, no kid would be able to construct. We didn't have the attention span. I love that the blueprint is on the board. I forgot about that. We did not have the attention span necessary to construct this device during a game. Mousetrap was one of those games where you bought it, you built the device once on your own, and you turned it to see it work, and then you put it back in the box and you never played it. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick little break. I will be right back. have returned. The rule: if you trigger it, it fails my save. Yes. I've never actually played a game of Mousetrap to completion, for aforementioned reason. They've redesigned the machine with every iteration of Mousetrap. It's never been exactly the same. This is the oldest version of it. Like one of the main one is the little thing right here has a spring on it, and it's just like a platform that goes straight across. And then in some of the newer versions, it's different. It's a little ramp, and it has a little like wiggle bucket up here that if you jiggle the board, it'll actually set off the machine. That was a problem with the original Mousetrap as well. If you bump the board, you would set off several different mechanisms on in the actual trap. This is an old. That must be like one of the first versions of it. I thought the original Mousetrap came out in the 80s. That looked a lot older than the 80s. I remember this Mousetrap configuration with that board and this box. But apparently this box had a blue board? I don't know. Mousetrap! An habitual board jiggler. Now, I have not ever jiggled a game for my advantage. I have not. Can't prove it. I'm a pretty big like tabletop gaming guy. So I have a closet full of like tabletop games. I've sold off a lot of them recently and kept like only like the ones I'm most interested in. For some reason I kept Mousetrap. It doesn't feel like I did. I kept Mousetrap. I did not keep Crossfire. Oddly enough, going back to Key to the Kingdom, I kept Key to the Kingdom even though when you and this game came out in 1990. My parents and my grandparents were flea market like seller people. They had like the big like rented buildings and stuff. So we were at the flea market. Like I remember specifically in the 90s, you could go to multiple different tables and get a copy of this game for like $15. Nowadays, this game is like $200 to get a copy of the original Key to the Kingdom. If you go get this version right here in the remake version, it's like $40. But if you want the original version now, it's like $200. So I could sell my version of the game for like $250. And jiggling the Key to the Kingdom board is another picture of the stuff in Key to the Kingdom. Didn't really do all that much. Just like knocked pieces over or knocked like the pieces of the bridge off or something like that. But yeah, and this is the old version. This is the newer version of Key to the Kingdom, which still has the fancy folding board mechanic, which was always pretty cool. I have never seen this version of Key to the Kingdom. I have this one. I've seen this one on store shelves. I have never seen that one. Never jiggle to your advantage, just at the disadvantage of others. Yes. But I would get people to try and play Key to the Kingdom over the whole reason I brought up Key to the Kingdom is like we wouldn't play Crossfire, we would go play this. I had more success getting people to play Monopoly than Crossfire. Yeah. Crossfire's got the really cool commercial, Crossfire! But that's really all it had. And like you could do cool other things with the metal ball bearings. Like shatter marbles by playing marbles with them. Which happened because marbles are made of glass and ball bearings are made of steel. And when you smash them together, you never knew anyone. Exactly! I was saying that. Crossfire was the game where everybody knew the commercial, right? Because it was awesome. And like they rode in on the little fidget spinners, and then they fought, and it was like lightning, and you had the song Crossfire, right? And then you didn't own the game because your parents wouldn't buy it for you. So the only person that you would have to have a rich friend whose parents bought everything for them, and then you go over to that friend's house and you play Crossfire, and 5 minutes later, you're done playing Crossfire. Yeah, it's a 5-minute game. It's a 5-minute game that has a commercial that everybody remembers the commercial, but nobody remembers how bad the game actually is. And even its success in the 90s, what a lot of people don't know about Crossfire, the 90s version that came out was a re-release because they tried this game in the 70s and it failed miserably. The only reason the 90s game had any kind of a landing was because of that commercial and that Crossfire theme song. Pogs. Oh, I remember Pogs. Yes, I remember. In fact, I think I still have a slammer or two around about. For people who weren't in the 90s, let me just show you Pogs, right? Pogs were these little cardboard like discs, and you would stack them up, and then you would have a thicker like metal or like heavy plastic disc, like that one right there, or this one right here. These things were called slammers. So you would stack up, see, 2 plastic slammers and 30 Pogs. You would stack up the Pogs, and then you would take the slammer and slam it down on top of the stack, and however many of the little cardboard Pogs popped off of the stack, you would keep those, and that would be your score. And then you would restack, and the other person would slam, and whoever had the most Pogs wins. And then one thing that was always a thing here, like when in the places where I would play Pogs, which would be with other kids at the flea market, was that if you lost, you had to give one of your Pogs to the person who won. And so you could win Pogs off of other players. And it didn't take long for people to start getting like big metal coins and using those as slammers, and it just bounced the entire stack off. But yeah, there were rules where like if you knocked the stack over, that didn't count. If your slammer bounced off like more than half the stack, that didn't count. So you had to and you could have like 2 or 3 different slammers, and different slammers did different things. So you would want to use one of the plastic slammers when the stack is high, so that you don't bounce the whole thing off. But when the stack gets low, you want to switch to a metal slammer, because then you'll bounce the bottom of the stack up. Because the plastic slammers didn't really do anything when there's only like 5 or 6 Pogs still in the stack. But if you hit that with a metal slammer, they'll go flying. So, Pogs. A game that 90s kids played. Yeah, Pog controversies. Yeah. We learned very quickly that you had to set the rules for Pogs before you actually played. I love that I just spotted that there's a Star Trek Generations Pog right there. And like people were collecting Pogs like they were NFCs. This was probably you never saw anyone actually play Pogs? By the time that Pogs were huge in California. By the time that they started picking up steam over here on the East Coast, at least where I am at in South Carolina, there were other games that were already out at the time that kind of eclipsed Pogs. Because Pogs and Pokemon kind of hit this area at around the same time. And everybody moved to the Pokemon trading card game the moment it came out. And Pogs just kind of, like, if you had the choice between playing Pokemon or playing Pogs, like you would play Pokemon. I remember at I got my Pokemon collection going pretty early because I was friends with one of the vendors at the flea market that we were at, and he had this was the original base set, the Fossil expansion and the Jungle expansion days of Pokemon, right? So the first 3 expansions, he would always have the packs available at his table, and he sold them for like $3 a pack or something like that. But every time I pulled a holo of a card, I could go back and he would trade me like the holo for a pack. And I was more concerned with playing the cards at the time than collecting. So I would pull a holo. I'm like, oh, cool. Can I get a pack for the holo? He's like, yeah, sure. And then I ended up with pretty much the entire collection with no holos in there, because I would trade the holos for the pack, but I could build pretty much any deck I wanted to build. And the 2 big decks at the time, there's a Blastoise deck and there's a Charizard deck. And I think the Blastoise deck was actually bigger, even though the Charizard is now the most famous card in all of Pokemon. But yeah, I had a Blastoise deck. We kick ourselves now, because if I pulled a holographic Charizard at least 5 times and just traded it for another pack. Because back then, like, you know, we're kids, and these cards just came out. Anybody could go buy a box for $100, right? And you would probably pull a Charizard, because it wasn't actually that rare at the time. But yeah, if I had kept those cards, I'd have like a $900 binder of cards. And it's also, and I've showed this off on stream before, but there were Marvel trading cards. My keyboard. That they look like this. And this is actually how I was introduced to Marvel Comics. These different collections of different cards, and when you get all of the same set and put them in the 9 page binder, it made one big image, and this was the coolest thing. And this was a 1993 set that I collected, but then they also had this. And these were famous battles in the Marvel Comics universe that had like entire storylines around them, but they had like a couple of pages worth of cards of these famous battles, and on the back it explained what the battle was, who was fighting, and gave a little synapses of it. So like Wolverine versus Venom. This was 1993. And we had things like Spider-Man versus Kingpin. We knew about that. Thor versus Blood Axe. Blood Axe hasn't been brought back, but they had Wolverine versus Venom. They had Deadpool versus Venom was one of the cards. Spider-Man versus Juggernaut, which we never got to see in the MCU because X-Men were owned by a different company. Yeah, but I've showed these off. I have this entire collection, except for the foil set, which were the 2099 heroes. So I don't have the foil set, but I have all of the base set for 1993. And then there was a 1994 Spider-Man. And it was based off of the cartoon. It looked like this. Because there was a 90s cartoon of Spider-Man. And I have the entire base set of these as well. There were foil cards that looked like this, but then there were transparent cards that looked like that. And then there were 4 hollow foil cards that were like green holograms. I do not have transparent in foil. There was the Fleer version, and then there was the Walmart version. And then there were these like huge like single sheet pictures like this. That was an uncut picture. So you had this that was cut into the different cards, but you could also get the sheets that were the uncut image. And I still have the Spider-Man version because Spider-Man was my favorite of the Marvel heroes, and the regular Marvel ones, where I learned about all of the different Marvel superheroes. And the thing is that the Marvel they had a Spider-Man page too. The Marvel MCU is still tapping this material to make MCU stuff, right? Because here's an example: the Hobgoblin. The Hobgoblin was a staple enemy of Spider-Man that hasn't been tapped in the MCU yet, but they have hinted at him. The Hobgoblin was Spider-Man's friend Ned, who was introduced in the newest Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and they even made a reference to it in No Way Home, where Ned looks at Peter and says, "I promise I won't become a supervillain and try to kill you." For those who knew the comics, knew that Ned is the Hobgoblin, who very much became a supervillain and tried to kill him. That's a little tie-in there. So here are some people that have been tapped. Like Ghost Rider's been tapped. Morbius was tapped. The Night Stalkers, Blaze haven't really been tapped. Lilith was skipped altogether. She's like the goddess of death, and she was skipped altogether when Thanos was brought out. Moon Knight was tapped. Hulk was tapped. Silver Surfer has made an appearance. Deathlock has been mentioned. Doc Samson has been skipped. Dead Zone, the Wild Pack, Moses Magnum. These guys haven't appeared yet. Siege hasn't appeared yet. I think all of the X-Men have made an appearance in one way or the other in the Marvel universe. But yeah, these cards were my first introduction to Marvel, and then I got into the comics and started learning about it, because I was reading these cards, and I would be like, okay, I like Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man versus Kingpin. Well, who's Kingpin? So I went and I got a comic that featured Kingpin, and it was a Daredevil comic. I'm like, oh, cool. Daredevil is also in New York, and hey, there's a Spider-Man Daredevil thing, so I got the Spider-Man Daredevil comic crossover things. And yeah, it's lots of cool stuff. One of the cool things about Marvel Comics, especially in the 90s, was there was so many crossovers. Here's the actual packs of cards in the box for this set here. But there was so many cool things about Marvel in the 90s, and every time you had like your favorite heroes, they would eventually have a crossover comic with your favorite heroes all like together and doing stuff. And then they had a couple of like really big comics that were like mega crossovers. They had the Mutant Agenda, they had the Infinity War, and then DC did it with Flashpoint, where they had like all of the DC heroes come together. And then there was a big one. The new Doctor Doom Avengers movie is based big crossovers, because they didn't own Spider-Man, and the X-Men were owned by a different company than Disney when they started up the MCU. And it's kind of sad. Fox had the X-Men, and Sony had Spider-Man, and then Disney had pretty much everybody else. Fox also had the Fantastic Four and Daredevil, and you can see it in Daredevil, because the character that was introduced in Daredevil 2, Peter, the only one that survived his little team, and they mentioned it in Daredevil and Wolverine, that every Daredevil has a Peter. That's true. Every Daredevil across the multiverse did have a Peter. You know which Peter it was? It was Peter Parker. Spider-Man and Deadpool, not Daredevil, Spider-Man and Deadpool were best friends in the comics. So when they made the mention in the Deadpool movie that every Deadpool had a Peter, yes, it's true. It was Peter fucking Parker. But they couldn't put it in the movie because they didn't own Spider-Man. Every Wade had a Peter. I'm sure that joke was made multiple times. But yeah, it was Peter Parker, but they couldn't put that in the movie because they didn't own Spider-Man. And the X-Men fought in the Infinity War. They were there. But they couldn't be there in the MCU because Disney didn't own the rights to the X-Men at the time. They own them now. The X-Men are going to be in the next Avengers movie. Which is... I don't want to be excited for a Marvel movie. I don't want to be excited for another Marvel movie, but the next Avengers movie is actually looking interesting. And I hope that whoever's doing that movie understands Doctor Doom. Like, please understand Doctor Doom. There is an actual legitimate reason that he could look like Tony Stark. There is. But the thing with the MCU movies, when they're good, you misspelled God, dude. When Marvel movies are good, they are very, very good. But when they're bad, they are very, very bad. And they don't really have a middle ground. There are very few Marvel movies that are meh. They're either fantastic or horrible. Thor is a very good example of this. The first Thor movie was fantastic. The second Thor movie was horrible. Third Thor movie was fantastic, right? The fourth Thor movie was horrible. Like, it just keeps pinging back and forth between the extremes. But yeah, Doctor Doom is like an amazing character, and is easily the most dangerous villain in the entire Marvel universe. And if you don't understand Doctor Doom, you won't understand why that is, and just why this guy is so dangerous. Yes, he's a brilliant scientist. That is true. But he's also a practitioner of the mystic arts. That's right, he has origins in the same magic that Doctor Strange controls. And he can control it to the same level of ability as Doctor Strange. In fact, he even took the role of Sorcerer Supreme at one point. Like, Doctor Doom is not one to be trifled with. Best recent MCU movie was Deadpool 3, not yes. If Disney ever tried to write a Deadpool movie, they would fail horribly. But yeah, like Doctor Doom is one of the villains that is so dangerous. The win condition that's normally placed against Doctor Doom isn't beating him. It's letting him do what he wants that doesn't involve destroying the planet or conquering the universe. If you're against like the gods of Marvel and kicking their ass, like Doom is very, very dangerous. And I hope they didn't even. Yeah, Captain Marvel was a tragedy. Yeah, both in writing and in casting. Captain Marvel was a tragedy. But yeah, I hope that in the new Avengers movie that whoever's making that movie understands how dangerous Doctor Doom actually is, and that it's brought together on the screen. And I said that there was a canon reason why he could look like Tony Stark. Yeah, he can shapeshift. He learned that ability through the mystic arts. Yeah. And he's got weaknesses too, but his weaknesses are such that if you poke them too hard, you'll just piss him off and put him into like a rage. Because like the reason he wears the mask is because his face got like horribly disfigured. And he is as vain as fucking Vega from Street Fighter, that he doesn't want anybody to see any kind of imperfection, so he wears a mask. Yeah, Latveria is awesome. Doctor Doom is a fucking king. He has his own country of people who worship him. Latveria. It's America's boast. Don't touch the post. Yeah, don't go. No, you don't go fucking around in Latveria. It's gonna end very, very poorly for you. But yeah, Doctor Doom is a really interesting and fantastic character, and I hope they do him right in the upcoming movie. please understand Doctor Doom. And don't do what they've done in the other two Fantastic Four movies that had Doctor Doom in them, which is completely hide the whole mystical aspect of his powers. You've introduced magic and the Sorcerer Supreme in the MCU. Just let everybody know that Doctor Doom is a sorcerer, right? Kind of, Bacon. A large part of his villain arc was because people messed with his country, but then he also had a whole lot of family drama, and there was a whole lot of drama with Reed Richards, because they were in the same university, and Reed kept getting all of the accolades that Doom felt he deserved, and he thought he wasn't being given a fair shot. And he grew to hate Reed Richards because of that. There was a huge animosity that was a large part of his villainy that involved Reed Richards. And then there was a whole big thing about his mother and his mom being, I think, kidnapped by death. And then he went on this whole thing to try and save his mom from hell. And the power that he attained to save his mom, when he actually did it, she turned her back on him. Like, he had a few other things that pushed him in more towards the villain category. But that's what I said about the win condition for Doctor Doom, is letting him sit in Latveria and not actively try to take over the world. That's the win condition for Doctor Doom. You don't try to beat him. You try to just make him sit in his own little kingdom and not kill everything. You'd wish they cast Death. They missed their opportunity to cast Death when they did the Infinity War, because they changed the whole reason Thanos wanted to destroy half of the universe wasn't because he had some ethos about balance. He wanted to date Death, and he thought that would impress her. That was Thanos' motivation for collecting the Infinity Stones and destroying half the universe. He wanted to impress Death, and she just kinda... to quote the epic rap battle, Oppenheimer versus Thanos, Death swiped left. She's just like, nope. Yeah, it's sad that Daredevil wasn't allowed to interact with the MCU back when the Infinity War stuff was going on. I keep saying Daredevil, it's fucking Deadpool. Because Deadpool was in so much stuff and tied in with so many of the other mutants. It would just have been amazing to have him. Okay. Nari Mom is reminding me that Survivor starts in 2 hours. She says hi. You probably heard her. She's standing in my doorway. I have a strip of like LED lights along the outside of the door that I can control from my desk, to let anybody who might be outside my door know that I'm recording in here. And I turn them blue when I'm not recording, and I turn them red when I am recording. And she walks up to my door and points at the lights when I forgot to. And it's only me and Nari Mom here. And I leave my door open so that I can hear her if she calls for me from the other room. So they're there, but it's only me and her. And I tell her when I'm going live. But she always comes up and she points at the lights when I don't have them on or they're the wrong color. Yes, on-air lights. In case we have visitors, like when my sister and her kids came up, I can close the door and I can stream in here and they can see that I'm on air from outside. Yes. But yeah, Deadpool actually interacted with so many of the Marvel characters. It's funny. You have a cheap doorbell for your mom to buzz if she needs me. I should do something like that. Like have a little like have a little life alert button that she can hit to let me know if she's like in trouble and can't call out. That's a good idea. Man, my internet provider is being horrible. Have I dropped any frags? Have I dropped any frags? Nope, because I'm not playing an FPS game right now. Have I dropped any frames due to my bitrate being lower than it's supposed to be? Wired up a USB and put a switch on speaker so you got sound and flash with just flash. Yeah, for the past week my ISP has been like super shady, and like I typically broadcast at a bitrate of 6,000. But right now, like my bitrate just dropped to 1,600, and I don't know why. Nothing has changed. It's just it dropped, and it's been doing that. Unlike Glenn, who was here earlier, I play Final Fantasy XIV, and I've noticed it in Final Fantasy XIV where I would click on an NPC, and then I would have to wait like 10 seconds before the dialogue box appeared because it was having trouble contacting the server. And like YouTube streams are buffering, and when Nari Mom is in the other room watching TV, it's been buffering all the time. Things on our phones are buffering and taking like forever to load, and like my bitrate just dropped to 1,700 again. And yeah, like I'm monitoring my bitrate on all 3 of the platforms, and like I'm getting an error message on YouTube right now because they're saying they're not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Twitch isn't even displaying my bitrate, but it's at 3,500. Yeah, I have no idea what's causing it. Now it's back up to 6,000. I have no idea what's causing this. I think it might have something to do with the ISPs, because everybody is all up in arms right now because routers have been banned in the United States. If you haven't been following the news, there's a router ban. Yeah, the thing that divides up your internet connection for multiple computers. There's a router ban that is currently active in the United States right now. There's a couple of caveats about it. One, it doesn't involve any routers that are currently on the market. So if you own a router, or if you buy one that's currently available for sale, it doesn't apply to those. But any new routers that are coming in, or any new versions of routers that are made outside of the United States, and that's about 90% of them, are now officially banned in the United States. So yeah, the routers that you currently have will work, but you won't be able to buy future routers unless they're made here in the US. For as long as this law maintains a law. It maintains being a law. And a lot of the ISPs are very concerned about this. for actual reasons. This is another case of old people in the United States making laws about things they don't understand. So yeah, the idea is that nefarious countries could put like spy software in routers. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. You want to say, oh, they could put spy software in routers. You know what else they could put spy software in? Every fucking thing. Like, you don't have to limit yourself to a router. How about all of the computer components that come from countries outside the United States? Did you know that there is more processing power in a USB cable than there was in the Apollo 11 computer that sent our astronauts to the moon? A USB cable has more processing power than the computer that did that. USB cable. Not only can USB cables have an entire computer in the plug, but also a Wi-Fi adapter in there. Like, never trust anything USB that you didn't purchase yourself, including a charging cable, because they have spyware in the charging cable, and you can't tell any difference between a charging cable with spyware in it and one without spyware in it, because they are exactly the same size. The plugs look exactly the same. One of them steals all of your shit. One of them just charges your phone. It is scary how small and what those things could be hiding in. And you may think, oh, I have my computer configured to not accept like USB drive. Okay, that's fine. That may work. Great. But what if I flip a switch on my USB drive and set it to register as, say, a keyboard instead of a hard drive? Do the vulnerabilities the routers are susceptible to? Yeah, it's a silly reason, because those vulnerabilities, guess what else is susceptible to the exact same vulnerabilities? Modems, computers, anything connected to the internet. Like, this isn't a problem that's exclusive to routers, and singling out routers is not going to do anything but cause problems to everything. Yeah. Bluetooth is a great example. People don't understand how open Bluetooth is to just being hacked, because all you need to get into somebody's phone, like your iPhone, for example. Apple likes to say their iPhone is completely like super safe and everything. There's a company that does like anti-hacking stuff, and they proved on stage that all they needed to hack into somebody's iPhone and copy all of their data was the handshake between that person's phone and their earpods. That's all they needed. When that person connected their earpods to their phone, they caught the handshake and they infiltrated the phone via Bluetooth via the earpods handshake. And a handshake, for those of you not in the computer know, is when a device sends a message, like my controller for my Switch is wireless. So when I turn on my Switch controller, it sends a message to the Switch saying, hey, I'm a controller and I'm trying to connect with you. And then the Switch looks at its list and is like, oh yeah, I see that you're one of the controllers registered to me. Here you go, you can connect. And that little back and forth is called a handshake. And that handshake is broadcast openly and can be intercepted. And that handshake is all any device needs to connect with the main device, because now it knows the frequency it's connecting on, and it has the information in the list, at least one of the items in the list, that the device will accept. And so all it does is send a message saying, hey, I'm this device, like, let me connect. And then it starts doing the various things. And what you will see as a user, you'll hear your AirPods will disconnect and then they will reconnect. And you'll think, oh, okay, it was just a glitch, disconnect and reconnect. But what happened was a nefarious device connected as your AirPods, which disconnected you. It got the list of acceptable devices, then disconnected and reconnected as one of the other devices. And now it's connected to your phone, and your AirPods reconnect, and all you think it was is a glitch, and it's somebody that just got access to your phone. Yeah. Everything is dangerous. Oh, Nibbler Rat King wants to be banned forever. There we go. Bang, bang, bang. It's really interesting learning how vulnerable technology is, but then also kind of eye-opening learning how vulnerable technology actually is. And people who think, like, there are Linux users out there, and like, you know, God bless Linux users. Like, I get what you're trying to do. You want to say that Linux is like the safest environment out there. It's not. Linux is safe because not a lot of people use Linux. Windows is so weak in the security department because like 90% of the people with computers use Windows. And so with it being the most used operating system, it's also the most targeted operating system. If the people that are currently targeted Windows turned and targeted Linux instead, that operating system would fall apart in an hour. Like, it would be gone. Like, Linux is safe because such a small base of users use it. If it became the most popular and it got the attention that the hacking community is pointing at Windows, Linux would not survive, and neither would Apple. Wi-Fi pineapples are fun. Harvest all the electronics asking for Wi-Fi connections, then fake that connection to connect to the phone. Yeah, there are so many, like, interesting and cool things that you can do that are actually absolutely terrifying. Going back to YouTube, I watched a video with Adam Savage. Adam Savage did this video. Why Adam Savage won't trust USB keys? If you are at all interested, I'm not gonna play the video here, but I will link it in chat. If you are interested in more of what I've been talking about how dangerous USB keys are, and as you can see right here, he's showing a USB key that has a switch on it and a micro US, what are these cards called? They have a name. Those little tiny little like memory cards. That is not supposed to be inside of a USB key. But yeah, it has a little switch where you can switch your modes, and it has a little card slot where you can customize the SD card. That's it, SD card, micro SD card. Has a little micro SD card slot where you can customize the payload, and a switch where you can turn it on or off. And it can even like pretend to be a hard drive if it's off by putting part of that SD card as hard drive storage. Like, yeah. And when it's on, it can completely bypass the restriction by saying it's a keyboard, by telling the computer it's a keyboard instead of a USB card. This is a really interesting interesting video. If you want to see some of the stuff, watch this video. It is kind of terrifying. Just jam out to some Doom music. There's a guy who built an array of floppy disk drives to play music, and one of the songs that he played was this song from Doom on floppy disk drives and the old dot matrix printers that made the sounds. The Floppytron, yes, the Floppytron, and it worked. It sounded like the Doom music. I'm like, I cannot believe that he is playing Doom music on floppy disk drives and dot matrix printers. That's crazy. And this would be like the perfect song to play on that, because you can play Doom on anything. Did anybody see that they got Doom playing in a cell? A cell, like an animal cell. They got it to play Doom. Yes, it was like one frame per like 15 hours. But it was actually Doom. Crazy. Let me see if I can pull up that. There it is, right there. Cortical Labs. Living human brain cells play Doom on a CL1. Like, absolutely nuts. Can it run Doom? See if I can get a picture of Doom being played through their microscope. Well, anyway, you can Google this. They actually got Doom. You saw the cell thing? Yes. At this point, you just accept everything can run Doom. Like, yeah. Anywho, I'm gonna take another quick little break. I'll be right back.
Hit the reset position button. But yeah, everything can run Doom. We've had 2 hours of just sitting and chatting. That's awesome. I don't know if I have enough time to actually finish Super Mario RPG at this point, because it's already 6:20 and I gotta go at 7. Because tonight is Wednesday, and it's Nari Mom and I's like Survivor night. Yeah, and I always leave about the stream, because Survivor starts up at 8. I leave it about 7 so I can get Nari Mom and I some foods and get set up and everything like that. So I think we'll just continue. We'll continue the talking, and I will rename this stream after the stream to a just chatting session. Yeah, it's fun to just sit and chat sometimes. You don't always have to have a game in the backdrop going. And I was really annoyed at Super Mario RPG the last time that I played. For those of you who are not here, we are on this boss fight, which is the last boss fight in the game. This guy right here. He's got 2 phases. His first phase, and then he changes into this for his second phase. And what was annoying me so much about this boss fight the last time that I tried to do it is that on the Super Mario RPG remake, they've gone out of their way to make the game auto-save for you, and every boss fight has a save point before the boss fight, and a refill point before the boss fight. Except for this one. The fight before it and this boss fight don't have a save point in between them. They don't have a refill point between them. You have to do 3 boss fights back to back to back without saving or refilling or anything. And this last boss, normally that's not a problem. But the last boss fight, this guy right here, he has these AoE attacks. See, it lists them all. Boulder, Meteor Swarm, Sword Rain, Spirit Rain, and Arrow Rain. These are attacks that hit the entire party. They are unblockable, and they do between 99 damage and 1 damage randomly to the entire party. And I've seen him cast 4 of them in a row before one of my party members gets a turn. So it would be like Mario goes, Peach goes, but before Mallow goes, he suddenly casts 4 unblockable AoEs in a row and kills the entire party. And he did that like 3 times. And it's annoying when that's at the tail end of what's already a 20-minute boss fight to get to that point, to then lose because the enemy just decides to spam unblockable AoE attacks across the entire party. It wouldn't be as painful if it was like just this final boss that I had to replay, but having to replay the final boss and the boss in front of him is a little bit too much, because that's like 20 minutes to get back here to maybe randomly lose because this guy just wants to spam AoEs. Yeah. So I was pretty annoyed / frustrated last week with Super Mario RPG, just because of this one mechanic. Because they could just give me a save spot right before the final boss. That would alleviate a lot of the frustration. They could give me a refill on all of my health and flower points before the final boss. That would alleviate some of the frustration. They could make these AoE attacks blockable if I hit the button at the right time, because then I would just block them and that would alleviate the frustration. But they just left it all in there. which just adds to frustration. And frustrated players are not players that are having fun. And it is a fine line to. I've talked about difficulty and my belief on how difficulty should be handled in video games, and I don't mind I don't mind difficulty that is hard if it's learnable, right? And this is why Dark Souls works so well, is because, yeah, Dark Souls fights are difficult, and when I say Dark Souls, I'm including Elden Ring and Bloodborne and all of the Souls-like games. Those fights and encounters work because they're learnable, and once you learn how to get around a mechanic, it always works to get around that mechanic. You just have to put in the time to learn it, and what seems impossible at first slowly becomes easier and easier as you learn both how your character works and how the boss mechanics work. What I don't like in video games is when you add randomness into a mechanic to supplicate like difficulty. Supplicate's the wrong word. Supplement, replace. When you add RNG in to and have that pose as difficulty, I don't enjoy that. If there's, I am of the personal belief that if you can enter into an encounter and lose the encounter without ever getting a chance to play, that is a badly designed encounter. Yeah, adding RNG to simulate difficulty. If there's a chance that the player could enter into an encounter and lose without ever getting a turn to do anything, that's a poorly designed encounter. I don't care what game it is that's doing it. It's poorly designed, and it needs to be fixed. And like I've used this criticism on many different like trading card games, because I played Pokemon, I played Magic, I played Yu-Gi-Oh, like I played the Dragon Ball Z trading card game, I played Hearthstone. I am very familiar with these games, and I know that there are one-turn kills and first-turn kills in many of these games. And I have always been of the belief that when a first-turn kill is discovered, that the cards involved in that need to be fixed or banned to make that not a possibility. Because that is a flaw in the design. If you can win on the first turn without your opponent ever being able to play a card, that's broken. And I carry that mentality over into video games. If your boss can randomly get a roll where they can get 4 turns in a row, and a lot of bosses in a lot of Square Enix games do that, because particularly Square Enix games from the 90s like to re-roll initiative on every single turn rather than rolling it once at the start of battle and keeping it for the remainder of that battle. A lot of old Square Enix games, and Mario RPG is a Square Enix game, re-rolled initiative at the start of every turn. So your characters would not always be going in the same order every turn of the fight. Because I know Final Fantasy 1 did this and Final Fantasy 9 does this. At the start, like your character has a speed modifier that's added to an initiative roll that determines what order it goes in the battle. And the enemies do the same thing. They have a speed modifier that's added to a initiative roll. And as your characters get higher level, their speed modifier becomes higher, and they almost always go first against low level monsters. But as they're fighting monsters that are equal to their level or higher, the monster, and like especially higher level monsters, almost always go first because they have a higher speed modifier. That's just going to allow them to go first. but you'll notice playing a game I use FF9 because I understand the mechanics of FF9 like extensively. You'll notice in FF9 that your party doesn't always go in the same order, and neither do the bosses. And many of the bosses in FF9 have multiple ATB gauges. So it looks like you're fighting one creature, but a boss, like the final boss, for example, Necron, has 4 ATB gauges, and some of his moves are on different gauges. So there's a chance where it could line up in that fight where he gets to go 4 times in a row. Not because he's taking 4 turns, but because he's got 4 hidden RTB gauges in the background, and they just all hit max at the same time. So he's going to go 4 times in a row because each one of his gauges just hit max. I think it feels like that there's a similar mechanic going on in this fight, and the boss at some points can just cast these multiple AoEs like 3 to 4 times in a row, and it just wipes you. So if I had to guess the mechanic that was going on in the background, I would say that's probably what's going on. Because that is something that Square Enix has done in the past. And in the future, because they did it after this game, because they did in Final Fantasy IX, which was released in 1999 or 2000. And this was released in I think 96 or 97. So yeah, if I had to peg down what was happening with this particular mechanic that was making it feel so unfair, I would say that this boss probably has multiple ATB gauges, and that these abilities are spread across different gauges. I know there's different parts to the boss, so yeah, it feels like that's what's happening here. And the problem is, that's RNG. In Final Fantasy IX, there are ways to manipulate ATB gauges, even ones you can't see, that we figured out. I don't know if those manipulations even exist in Mario RPG, much less how to do them. But yeah, I've always said, like, there's some boss fights where even after you beat it, it still doesn't feel good, right? If I go into a boss encounter and I beat the boss encounter after having lost to it like 7 times in a row, and I don't understand what it was that I changed that allowed me to beat the boss that time when I lost the previous 7, that doesn't feel like an earned victory to me. I want to be able to look and say, okay, I changed this, and that mattered and allowed me to get to the end goal and beat the boss. If it feels like I got to the end goal because the dice were in my favor this particular time, yeah, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me. Like, I don't mind hard bosses as long as I can go in there saying, okay, I understand where I screwed up. Let me fix that and try again. Or if I don't understand I screw up, go in the second time looking specifically for it. Because there's a lot of encounters where I'll screw up and I'll die, and I'm like, why did I die? I don't understand. And then I go back in there, and then I see the mechanic that killed me, and I understand what it was that I did wrong, seeing it a second time, like, oh, that's where I screwed up and died, right? Those kind of things, I love that, because yeah, like, you get frustrated and you bitch at the game, like, I can't, you stupid piece of shit, and you go back in there, you're like, and you just do it better and you survive. That I love. That is great. But when it's RNG and I'm like, I don't think I made a mistake and I lost, like, it doesn't feel good. I mean, yeah, I get it emulates life. It's possible to play perfectly and still lose. But it doesn't mean it feels good. It doesn't mean it's something you should strive to emulate in your video game. Anyway, that's my game difficulty rant. I know there's a lot of people who disagree with me and think it's perfectly fine to have RNG difficulty in a game. And, you know, people are allowed to be wrong. But you know, it does have a place. I don't mind if there's something that's an RNG difficulty if it's not part of the main quest line to get through the game. If you want to give an optional, like, super hard thing some RNG stuff, fine. That's fine. It's an optional super boss. Let it have RNG stuff. Let people know right up the front, hey, the boss could do this and could just mollywop you the moment the fight starts. Yeah, but it's an optional super boss. You expect that. You don't expect that from the final boss of the game, even though it is the final boss and you want it to be hard. You don't expect to be able to, like, jump into the fight and then the boss just goes and the fight's over and you didn't even get a turn. Like, that's not cool. And what I'm saying is this boss can do that. Yeah. Anyway. So this is actually all I have left for Super Mario RPG. And I've just been chatting and talking instead of playing the game. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Oh, you know what I did get to see over the weekend? I mentioned this before that I have a buddy who works at a theater and I get to see some movies for free sometimes. Yay. I got to see the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And I don't understand what some of the criticism about this movie is, because I thought it was pretty good. And there are people saying, oh, Chris Pratt doesn't understand Mario lore. I'm like, and? when it's not required, there are many actors who play characters and don't understand any of the lore behind that character. Mario? Yeah, that happens. And then I've had a lot of people say, oh, this was Super Mario Galaxy, like mild spoilers for Super Mario Galaxy, the movie, or the game, or both the movie and the game. But people say, this is a Super Mario Galaxy movie. I wanted them to include more Super Mario Galaxy stuff. And I'm like, were we watching the same movie? Because this movie has Super Mario Galaxy written all over it from fucking start to finish. Like, my guy. Like, where could they add more Mario Galaxy references in this? Like, it's Bowser Jr. He kidnaps Princess Peach's castle with a spaceship and takes it to space. And the rest of the movie is them going to different galaxies in Super Mario Galaxy trying to rescue the princess. In fact, trying to rescue two princesses, because it's Rosalina that gets kidnapped, not Peach. And they're off to try and save Rosalina, and she's in like the junk galaxy. I forget what it's called, the space junk galaxy or something like that. And so they have to get to like 2 or 3 different places in order to save Rosalina. And I'm like, there is so much Super Mario Galaxy in this movie. Like, they use music that's exclusive to Mario Galaxy. They go to different worlds. I like that they had a Super Mario Brothers 2 world, like Mario Galaxy. That was pretty cool. They use like the spring power ups. You get to see the Bee Queen from Super Mario Galaxy. The Dry Bowser boss from Super Mario Galaxy. Like Yoshi from Super Mario World, but there are so many Mario Galaxy references in this. It's the entire movie. So yeah, I can understand them calling the movie Super Mario Galaxy. It totally works. Yeah, I think all of the criticisms against the Mario Galaxy movie are just white noise, because it's similar criticisms to the original Super Mario Brothers movie, which I also thought was pretty good. The movies are just like mindless fun for kids designed to sell video games and toys. Like that's what it is. Even though the actors might not understand the deep Mario lore is present in the movies, and it's not like the Mario Brothers movies are these paragons of seriousness. The games are ridiculously silly, and so are the movies. I think that both of these movies perfectly honors the games that they are made after. Like, yeah. See, I will say I have not seen any valid criticisms of the Super Mario Brothers Galaxy movie myself. I don't have any like major criticisms of the film. It seemed fine to me. Like, no, it's not the greatest film ever, but it's not a bad film. Greetings, man. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. You have now increased your awesome by 5%. You've not seen either film, or you've not seen valid criticisms. They're fun. They're fun watches. They're not exactly something that I would like do a repeat watch on. But if you've not seen it, seen it, it's a fun little romp. If you've got kids, watch it with your kids. Both, yeah. Yeah, they're fun little movies. Yeah. No, I don't think they're gonna win any awards, but they're not bottom of the barrel garbage either. They're pretty solid. Yeah. Is the same thing about I was hearing a lot of the same kind of criticism about the Dungeons and Dragons movie that came out, the Mario movie. Yes, I'll talk about the Mario Galaxy movie that just came out. A lot of people were criticizing the movie and the actors for really stupid things that don't apply to the movie. It's a nice little movie. Yeah. But I saw the same kind of criticism with the Honor Among Thieves D&D movie came out, which I think is the best D&D movie that they've ever made. Precisely because they don't take the movie doesn't take itself that seriously. And what I loved about the Honor Among Thieves movie was it felt like what happens in a D&D campaign. Right? Like the scene where they use Talk to the Dead and you get to ask a dead person 5 questions and they blow all 5 questions and end up digging up an entire graveyard because they keep screwing up the questions. Yes, this happens in Dungeons and Dragons. When you give your characters the ability to talk to the dead, one of them is going to do something like, does that count for a question? And then the dead guy answers yes. Like, no, that wasn't a question. Do you understand? Yes. Why would you say, do you understand? And then the guy dies again, and now you can't revive him. You have to dig up somebody else. That's exactly what happens in a D&D campaign. You didn't expect Toy Story level storytelling? Yes, I mean, it's a Mario movie, and it tells the same kind of story that the Mario games tell, right? Bowser or Bowser Jr. or one of his 7 other kids, because he's got 7 more of them, kidnap the princess, and Mario has to go save the princess. Like, this is what happens in the game. This is what happens in the movie. And like I was saying, I saw a level of criticism where people saying they want to see more Mario Galaxy in the Mario Galaxy movie. You should have more Mario Galaxy elements. And I'm like, dude, have you played Mario Galaxy? Because there are Mario Galaxy elements all over this movie. Like, it starts with Rosalina and her Loomies. I think they're called Loomies. I forget what they're called. The little star people. It starts the same way the Mario Galaxy starts, with her reading a story to all the little star people that she takes care of. And then like the star bits start raining on the Mushroom Kingdom. Okay, yeah, that's happened. That's straight from the game. The castle gets abducted. That's straight from Mario Galaxy. There's all these different galaxies that they can go to that have their like different little planets. Well, that's straight from the game. You got the Bee Queen, like that's straight from the game. You got the power-ups like the cloud and the spring. That's straight from the game. The star pads that you use to travel through space. The different galaxies that they go to, those are actual galaxies from the game. The star pads is how you travel. Like, even the combat, like jumping between different planets and the gravity flipping mid-jump so you land on a different planet. All of that stuff is directly out of Mario Galaxy. Like, everything in this game, in this movie, is like straight from the game. So when people say, oh, they should be more Mario Galaxy in my Mario Galaxy film, I'm like, the film is made of Mario Galaxy. It's just like yeah. You ever ran about Peach and Rose shippers? I don't even like the shipping community. I don't even listen. But yeah, like, and I could understand a criticism about including Star Fox in this movie, but I have not heard anybody criticizing the inclusion of Fox McCloud in this movie, or the inclusion of Donkey Kong in the last one. In fact, I've heard the opposite, that the inclusion of Fox McCloud in this movie was a benefit to this movie. While simultaneously these people were saying that they needed to include more Mario Galaxy. And I'm like, what? What? Like, what? Just what? But yeah, spoilers, Star Fox is in this movie too. I say Star Fox. The only member of Star Fox that's in this movie is Fox McCloud. And if anything, like they just, that whole segment that includes Fox McCloud, they're just copying Star Wars. Because they literally go to the landing platform and hire them to take them to the base where the princess is being held. It is Star Wars. Fox McCloud is Han Solo, and they hire him to take them to Bowser's planet, aka the Death Star, to rescue the princess. I see where this story came from. There are beats that match. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talking about the Peach and Rosalina being sisters, which is, I guess this technically makes it canon. But that was never, it was never, their relationship was never defined in the game. And the only other thing that I've ever seen about the relationship between Peach and Rosalina was that Rosalina was Peach's daughter. That's the only other lore that I've ever seen regarding these two characters that could, in any stretch of the imagination, be true. And that was a fan theory. Yeah, it does make perfect sense that they are sisters. Because Rosalina just knows too much about Peach and the Mushroom Kingdom for there not to be a connection there. Because even in the Mario Galaxy games, she knew who Peach was, she knew what the Mushroom Kingdom was, and she knew about the Mario Brothers. Before she met them, she knew these things. Yeah, so the line that the plot that they took in the movie makes sense. Also, apologies if I spoiled this Mario Galaxy movie for anybody. It's not exactly like a super like secret. It's not like there's a massive story here that we're going through with like twists and turns or anything like that. But yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was. Don't go into this movie expecting it to be Shakespeare, because it ain't Shakespeare. Also, hot take: Shakespeare a little bit overrated. Just gonna put that out there. put that thought out there in the road. Rosalina is the best princess. Not gonna argue. I do kind of like Rosalina a little bit more than I like Peach, and I like both Rosalina and Peach way more than I like Daisy. Yeah, personally, I would say Zelda, best princess. Yeah, Mario and Luigi are brothers. Why are you ranting about Peach and Rosalina being sisters? Yeah, exactly. And now, Luigi has a date. There you go. You really want to piss off the shippers? Mario and Peach, Luigi and Rosalina. They've got so much in common. They're the other sibling, and they are significantly taller than their older or younger sibling. I forget. Yeah, anyway. The taller ones couple off, the shorter ones couple off. You don't really know any other Nintendo princesses? I can really only think of 3 of them. 4 of them. 3 of them associated with Mario Brothers and 1 associated with Legend of Zelda. Peach, Rosalina, and Daisy are all associated with Mario, and Zelda is from The Legend of Zelda. And although there are other female characters, I don't think they're princesses. Samus is not a princess, I don't think. I mean, considering Samus's lore, I guess an argument could be made that she might be royalty. But I believe, because Samus is an orphan that was raised by bird people. And the family that raised her, I believe, were just scientists. But they might have been, they might have been part of like a famous or royal family. I'm not sure. And if they were like Chozo royalty, I suppose maybe Samus could fall into the category of a princess, but I doubt it. Samus more accurately falls into the category of nightmarish hunter rather than any kind of princess. But to be fair, Peach also kind of falls into that category because she is kind of strangely powerful. But that is one of the cool things in Metroid. In Metroid games where you get to see some of the lore, seeing the pirates, the space pirates' entries about Samus and reading what they write about her is absolutely hilarious because they are scared shitless of Samus. And they call her the Hunter, and whenever she shows up, they go into full-on panic mode. You can see this in the Metroid Prime games. There are so many log entries just hidden of space pirates freaking out because Samus is now on their planet and they don't have a way off of the planet that Samus is on. And legitimately, I can understand that. How many planets has Samus blown up at this point? 4 of them? Because she blew up Zebes, she blew up SR-388, she blew up the one in Metroid. That's 4 planets and 2 space stations that Samus has destroyed. Mario and Luigi are twins, but Luigi and Disney are boys. Don't care about spoilers. Only made $500 million. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Samus would be a princess. But the idea of the Disney princess now, people are taking that a little bit too far, because there are people that are saying that the Alien, because now Disney owns Fox and Fox owns Alien and Aliens have a queen, that the queen is a Disney princess. And I'm like, no, the queen is a queen, because a princess and a queen are not the same thing. There is a difference. A queen is a queen, and a princess is the daughter of a queen. They're not the same thing. When the queen dies and the princess assumes the throne, like, say, Peach, they are no longer a princess, they are a queen. This is how the relationships between queens and princesses work. So, yeah. You know who else didn't understand governmental relation change from Tarzan's the best Disney girl? Debatable. But you know who else didn't understand how governments work? George Lucas with Star Wars. Oh my god. Princess Leia is a princess, right? So does that mean Alderaan was a kingdom? No. No, Alderaan wasn't a kingdom. Alderaan was a republic. So how is Leia a princess when her adoptive father was a senator in a republic? This is not how princesses work. There is a difference between a democracy and a republic. They are not the same thing. They are two distinct forms of government. Yet there is a line in the 3rd episode of Star Wars where Obi-Wan's like, my allegiance is to the republic, to democracy. And I'm like, those are two different things. Not to mention, Queen Amidala was elected by her people. This is not what queen is. You don't elect queens. It's a bloodline, a royal family. Like, they're not elected. George Lucas does not understand governments. He must have skipped that class in high school, because governmental understanding is not anywhere in the original Star Wars. Choking on apple juice. I have replaced my juice with apple juice now. But, oh my gosh. That tells me that it is 7 o'clock. But yeah. Just about the only government that George Lucas got right in Star Wars was the Empire. Like every other one is wrong. Yep. This is why you don't analyze things. don't analyze your favorite movies, because there are mistakes there, and once you see them, you can never unsee them. Did I ruin Star Wars for everybody by pointing out how wrong all of the governments except for the Empire actually are? Maybe. I don't think it does any more damage than that one episode of The Big Bang Theory that pointed out that the first Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the one where he finds the Ark of the Covenant. What's it called? Why am I blanking on Indiana Jones movies? Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, it has it in the title, and my brain was like, nope. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. There's a Big Bang episode, and I really don't like the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, Lost Ark. But there's a Big Bang episode where Sheldon, like the main character, said this was his favorite movie, and there's nothing you could say that would tarnish the movie. And then his girlfriend was like, Indiana Jones is completely irrelevant to the plot of this movie. And she was right. I mean, you can take Indiana Jones completely out of this movie, and what happens? Exactly what happens anyway. The Nazis find the Ark, they take it to the island, they open it, and they all die. That happens whether or not Indiana Jones is involved in this plot or not, because technically the Nazis win, they get the Ark, they take it to the place and they open it, and it kills them all. That happens either way. You can take Indiana Jones completely out of the film, and the end result of the film would still be the same. Yeah. So yeah, like I don't think any of my spoilers have ruined. My favorites was when they did the second Harry Potter movie. Chamber of Secrets. I guess we can, because they bring out a couple of interesting things. If it's, see my connection is.
I'm not allowed to use magic outside of school.
Harry tells Hedwig you can't use magic.
Yeah, and so yeah, here's one of the things that he points out. He tells Hedwig that he can't use magic to let him out of the cage. What is this? That lock has a key in it. This is one of the things that he pointed out. He tells Hedwig he can't use magic to open the cage to let him out. The cage! The lock has a key! The key is in the lock! Editor, like, what you doing? You missed something here. That is not the only time that this happens. Right here, it happens again.
Clearly states that the crow.
So yeah, like this is another time where they put something on screen that they never explained in the movie. Like he reads out "spiders flee before it" to Ron, but the very next line says the crowing of the rooster can kill it. It is literally the next line on the page that tells you how to one-shot the basilisk, and they don't take a rooster into the chamber with them. Like I understand they're following the books and stuff, but the books have a specific chapter where they mention that somebody went all around the Hogwarts grounds and killed all the chickens. Hagrid is bringing this to Dumbledore's attention when he encounters Harry in Dumbledore's office. He's holding a bunch of chickens because somebody has killed all the chickens, and it turned out to be Ginny Weasley. But they left that out of the book, but they still had this line on the page right there, which is just a funny omission. It's not as funny as the key being in the lock in Hedwig's cage, but yeah. Yeah, some of the CinemaSin stuff is kind of but sometimes, like a lot of times, they're pretty on point. Like the original Mortal Kombat movie, during the fight between Kitana and Liu Kang, they're having a conversation, and Kitana's like, in your next fight, make sure you use the element that creates life. And he just kind of paused the video. He's like, next fight? This is Mortal fucking Kombat. Yep. Yeah, things like that make me chuckle. Yes, Honest Trailers is also really good. Yep. Things like that. Things like that make me chuckle. Well, it is almost 10 minutes past 7. We didn't actually get to the game today. We just kind of sat and talked. Oh, I sat here and rambled at you guys for like 3 hours. Tomorrow, we will be getting into Bear and Breakfast, because there's nothing on the docket tomorrow. And hopefully my back will be feeling a lot better. It is feeling a lot better today, but it's not at its 100%. So hopefully we'll be doing a lot better tomorrow. Yeah, I have been enjoying Survivor this season. Although Colby got voted off last week, and he was one of my favorites to win. So now I have to pick a new favorite, and it's hard because so many of them are stupid. But it's easy to be on the outside of the game and say, that's a stupid decision. But when you're in the game, you don't have all the knowledge that we have on the outside of the game. So for them, it might not be a stupid decision. But it's easy to sit on the couch and go, that's a stupid decision. I personally would probably not do well on Survivor. Me, like, hobbling off the boat with the cane. It's probably not a game that I would do particularly well on. So I will just sit on the couch and yell at the people on TV for... What time is Survivor on? Survivor on is on at 8 o'clock my time. That's about an hour from now. If you have Paramount, you can watch it on the Paramount app live. If you have their subscription service, you can actually watch all 50 seasons of Survivor. There are 50 seasons of this show. This is season 50 airing right now. And I have watched this show since the beginning. And yeah, like one thing that really got me on Survivor is in the first season, I predicted who the winner was on episode 1. And I'm like, okay. Yes. 50 seasons of Survivor, 25 years of this show, and that's not counting the spin-offs in various other countries. Well, it's funny you should say that, because there were participants from the first season that were in season 50, and Colby Donaldson was on season 2. He was 30. He was in his 30s when he was on season 2. He's in his 50s now. He was like 57, I think. He was 32 when he played in Australia, and he was 57 when he came back for the show for Fiji. The first season had Rudy Bosch, who was retired Navy SEAL. He was 73 in season 1. So they've had old people, and he came in like 4th place. They've had like really old people right from the start with Survivor. And Rudy came back and played again for All Stars like 5 years after that, when he was in his 80s. Like, I think it was 5 or 6 years later. He was like almost 80 or 80 when he played the second time. I think Rudy might have been the oldest person to have ever played Survivor. They might be someone older than Rudy. But yeah, they've had quite a few people advanced in age. That have played the game. And technically Colby got voted out because he had an injury that he sustained. He rolled his ankle, and I saw a follow-up interview after he got voted out, because they kept him in the hospital for 2 weeks because of the damage that he did to the ankle and the infection that he got in the ankle. They said it was the worst infection they have ever seen a contestant get on the show. Like, and he was doing the man thing. Nah, I'll walk it off. I don't need to see medical. Like, I got this. And he just went for like 3 more days with his ankle getting progressively worse and worse and worse, while still doing challenges and running and climbing and shit with it. Yeah. And then he got voted off, and he sent him to the hospital. Like, dude, like, you want to lose your leg? Because you almost lost your leg. Anywho, Survivor time. So let's see who's out here in Twitch land doing some fun stuff that we can drop a raid on. Who am I following that is live and having fun? Let's see. Oh, bunch of big name people going live. Let's see. Ellie has 53. She is the lowest viewer, so I'm gonna drop my little mini raid on Ellie Joey Panic. Looks like she's in break time at the moment. But she's playing Pokemon Pokopia. Pokopia is the new Pokemon game that has just come out. I like to describe this game as if Pokemon and Minecraft had a child, while Animal Crossing was sitting in a leather chair in the corner of the room, creepily smoking a cigar. Right? That's what this game is. Yep. So I'm gonna leave you with that image. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow for more Bear and Breakfast. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and a special thank you to Lansley. I see your donation has just popped up over here from me. Thank you. Much appreciated. And JPP get KFC. Yes.